I have so much to say and not enough time to do it.
Where's my music?
I don't have the music. I don't play the music anymore. I'm too lazy.
Oh,
This is Living Room Clutter, the final episode of Living Room Clutter. My name is Dave Moore, your host from day one. Also joining me is my two amazing hosts who took over halfway through this show. First, Josh, JC, Lexicon. Josh.
Hey,
How's it
everyone.
going, Josh?
It's going good, Dave. Kind of a bittersweet day. I didn't think we'd make it this far, but
no one thought we'd make it this far. Let's be honest. No one said. Everybody said, you're doing a Rock Band podcast? You guys do an entire show about Rock Band? And we were on like episode, 20. And they were like, what? That's not a thing. It says like episode 112. Or 13.
I'd say it's 113, but this is the final episode of your number one rhythm gaming podcast where we've covered Rock Band, Guitar Hero, Rocksmith, Clone Hero, sometimes DDRs, sometimes rhythm games you've never even heard of, but we usually try and cover everything mostly, except when we stopped kind of doing that.
Also joining us, of course, Keith K-Doll 08.
Well, hello there, people, and welcome back to the final installment of this gloriousness that is Rock Band.
We're Rock Band now?
Yeah, we are Rock Band. We might as well be the official podcast. They don't do one.
Let's be honest. Our show is always better than Rock Band 4.
All right.
Guys, it's kind of a sad day. I mean, we saw this about a year ago. Let's be honest. We dragged this out a lot longer than we probably could have. Than we should have. I haven't played the game in months. I'm just going to say it straight out. I love Rock Band. I've always loved the series. It's why this show exists. I made it, pre-Rock Band 4. I messaged Sid Massand, our main man, and he and I started this show and thought, we can talk about Rock Band every week. It'll be great, even when the game comes out. DLC will handle us, and then, the game kind of tanked, dude. And it's not just that ended the show. It's a lot of the podcast space that has changed for me in time. This is the first podcast I've been on in about a month. And I owe you and Keith and Josh, you guys more than anything for keeping this show going. Because you guys stepped up. When Sid had left, this show wouldn't exist without the two of you. So I know that I sit here and I hosted this show and put it up, but really that's all I did at that point. This show was you guys.
It was kind of crazy when going from someone that just listened to podcasts mostly to actually taking that next step in the initiative to actually help organize it together. And it's something that when we used to do it weekly that I looked forward to every week because it was an opportunity to use what I consider my expertise to talk to people and make new friends. And that's kind of why I'm glad we got as far as we did. Granted, I think in my case, being completely honest, I've just gotten burnt out on trying to keep up with all the news and really care about a lot of it when
it's not exciting.
It's not, and there's some things like when there's been an update, it's fixed some things, but it's also been just as likely to introduce new things. So it's always in a constant state of flux, and you never really know. Sometimes it's solid, but then you find some other glitch or a bug, and then you have to play the game as is or wait until something gets fixed. And then the whole thing with the Spotlight Pass and how it's been constantly sort of tweaked and revised, and then it went away. And then actually this upcoming season, if you're listening to this in the future, this will be season 8 of who knows how many seasons of Rivals will have been out by the time you're listening to this in the future. But the idea,
we say this is the final episode, and it is. Like, There's no 2 months from now we say we're back monthly or we're back every other month. There's none of that happening here. But in the event that 5 years from now goes by and Rock Band 5 is a thing, I am not saying we won't be here then, because I'll be here.
It's not goodbye forever. It's just goodbye for now, essentially.
Yeah.
But my whole thing is just the idea that the model of Rock Band this generation, it's evolved, but it's also been changing so much that it never really seems to stay in one place. Like I was saying with the Spotlight Pass, this past summer they started doing stuff where it'd be like new DLC that was more like popular alternative or like indie alternative songs would be 50% off for the first 2 weeks. And I guess that was fine, but if you're someone like me who's a Sony user in Canada or like a bunch of Sony users in Europe, Sony's going to charge you more anyways, so a discount is still not going to matter. And let's not forget Harmonix deciding to re-release Rock Band Network songs. Granted, this pricing thing is not fully within their control. That's a Sony Microsoft like first party thing, but Sony having the gall to charge for RBN songs that were once $1 and making them $3.
Also, not fixing the problems with them. It's these decisions. It's these kind of decisions that Rock Band made from the get go with Rock Band 4 that have just kind of turned us off all from the game in general. And not to say that I hate the series, because I don't. I still think Rock Band 4 is a good, enjoyable time. But I think that Rock Band,
on occasion, it's like in I guess I've sort of felt that way with any game now. I mean, I guess maybe it's just how the way my life's been going the last year or so. I've realized there's more to life than just making rectangles and circles disappear. So
no, there's not. Never, ever. No, just kidding.
No, there's not.
I know. If only it were that simple. But for those of you that don't know, if you're just using this episode as a jumping on point, boy, do you have a long backlog waiting for you. I've been writing for the last year, and I found that is a really good outlet for, I guess, my sense of humor, my creativity, my approach to music that a genre like rhythm games has helped to develop. And I feel like that's where my abilities are sort of better used right now. And I mean, I play Rock Band sometimes, but I feel like my skill level there has gone to the point where if it's Rock Band 4, I mainly just sing. And I only play other instruments in the earlier games.
Well, see, that's exactly what I was just going to say. That's why I sing. I don't have to worry about my skills eroding with my fingers or anything like that. I can just sing the songs I know and enjoy myself that way. But I haven't played the game. You know, I think I played a couple songs about 3 weeks ago, give or take. But that was really it. I mean, they obviously. I think the big mistake that's happened with 4 was just the rushing to the market. Nothing else.
We've been over this. If you've been listening for a long time, you know that we've gone on probably much too long about that being the problem.
Hey,
ladies and gentlemen, we got a special guest.
Sorry, guys, for technical difficulties.
The man that we thought we would almost never see again, a man that I've missed forever.
I know, Dave. How's it going, man?
I know, dude. We have not talked, and this is
2
legitimate.
years. No,
yeah,
not
I know.
2 years. When did Rock Band Rivals come out?
About 2 years ago, almost.
Yeah, 2 years.
October,
2 years?
Has it been 2 years?
Almost.
Yeah, I think it has
God,
been.
I guess it has.
Sid just left our group chat one day, and we're all like, "Did Sid decide he hates us? We don't know. should we re-add him to the group chat?"
No, I had other stuff in life that came up.
Yeah, no, and we figured, and because we were like, we didn't do anything to make him mad, right? Like
we had a group chat. Was that on Twitter?
Yeah, I think it's on Twitter. Yes.
It's been so long ago.
John Guy was sitting in there still, and we're like,
"Oh, I love John Guy, man. I talk to him every now and then."
If he's in the chat if you go to YouTube, I don't know how much bandwidth you have in the hotel, but if you go to YouTube, there's a chat of people. I don't know.
We got a few people in there. We got our good friend Travis. We got John Guy. We've got Mastermind, a Death A7X. That's the new face, and also Max Caulfield just joined us. So welcome everybody.
New voice.
Hey, we have 8 people.
Wow. I'm impressed.
So what have you guys been doing the last 2 years?
Not playing Rock Band.
Not much.
When was the last time you guys played Rock Band?
Yeah, I think when Rivals came out, we actually played a decent amount. Like, matter of fact, when Rivals came out, I was coincidentally doing training the same day in the city that Dave lives in.
Yeah.
So we played Rock Band like at his house, basically when Rivals came out. And since then, not as much as Rivals has slowly kind of fizzled, but yeah.
Keith and I.
Sorry, go ahead, Dave.
No, I want you to go.
Well, I stopped playing it because the online play never works for me. I always get the same error messages.
I haven't had any trouble with it working. I've had trouble finding people to play with, but it's always been functional for me anyway.
I've never tried the matchmaking.
You know what? I tried it once. I tried it once early last year when that update first dropped, and I played with some of the people that I'm sort of in a crew with. And I also say crew loosely because I mainly just do vocals and quick play and earn XP that way. If anything, I haven't bothered with the challenges in a year and a half now.
Speaking of the crews, I mean, the Living Room Clutter Xbox crew has persistently done well.
Yeah, they've been hitting Bloodstone, man.
Wait, did we hit Bloodstone and I'm not aware of it? We were one below it last time I checked.
I think
I'm happy to be part of the team.
Somebody randomly sent me a tweet that said we made it to Bloodstone.
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
I did not know.
I think it was 2 weeks ago.
My Xbox
nobody plays the game
signed me out of it or something like that.
Oh, I think I recognize Death A7X.
Sid, I don't know. I don't know if you're aware of this, but we're the #1 rhythm gaming podcast by default.
Well, I mean, that's been the case for a long time.
I don't know if you knew that, though.
That's like saying you're the best McDonald's in a town of 8,000.
Hey, there'd actually probably be 3 McDonald's in a town of 8,000 at least.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I was talking about my drum kit the other day, and I'm like, there's a thick layer of dust on my drum kit, and I'm like, man, I really need to play this more often.
It's sad. It's you remember how excited we were for that game, the early days, Sid, and this was supposed to be the revival of this series that had died because of Activision with anything, which is funny now considering they brought back Crash and Spyro, right?
Well, it's crazy. I remember how excited we were, and even Rivals I was excited about. This online play was coming, but I haven't played the game in 3-4 months, I think, and it's also kind of hard now, because we have 2 dogs, and one of them is a puppy still, and I played drums once and they were kind of going crazy with the noise of the drum kit. And I'm like, I just gave up. I'm like, I haven't played video games in so long. Even Far Cry 5 I got, and I just couldn't get into it. I think I'm maturing or something.
You're in a lull like me. I hate all games that come out right now.
Yeah, there's another reason too. This is probably the first place I'm going to announce it, but my wife and I are expecting our first kid.
Woo! Mazel tov!
Congrats! I see Amy back there doing something. So
yeah, so we're expecting our first kid in March of next year, early March. So
that's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're so excited. That's been we've been hanging out a lot. So I mean, I just don't have a desire to play as many video games. I'm kind of disappointed in myself. So I'm like, I used to be really into games.
You got nothing to be disappointed about.
Don't worry. As the elder person here, let me say, that happens. I mean, it's just, I still enjoy games, but you just don't have the time. You don't have that kid and even teenager, early 20s time of, I can play for 7 hours today. Just doesn't happen.
Well, that's right. And the other thing, you guys maybe noticed if you follow Rock Gamers, I've been doing my GNR channel way more, and I've been enjoying that a lot more than I have been playing games, and that's really been a lot of my focus. But kind of funny when you said the older guy, I'm the old guy at work. I'm 32, and I'm everybody else is 25, 24, and I'm I complain about my age. I'm God, I'm so tired. I tell the 24-year-olds, when you get to my age, you have to eat healthy, and my back's hurting in the morning, and
you're it's all true.
It's all true, yeah.
We got all the congratulations from the chat pouring in.
Oh, thanks, guys. Yeah, I feel like I never had a dog when I was a kid, and now we have 2 dogs, and I feel like it's sort of given me a flavor of what it's like having a kid, having routines and so at least it gives me an idea. Hopefully, it won't be a total surprise.
Oh, yeah, No, it'll still be a total surprise. Don't worry.
Dogs are nothing like children, I'm sure.
The dog's probably not going to wake you up at 2 a.m. and then 2:30 and then 2:55.
You know what? I forgot to take the dog's water away yesterday, late at night, and then he woke me up at 3:30 in the morning. I had to take him out, and I was so disappointed in myself. But you're right. Keith, do you have any kids?
I have 3 kids.
Oh man, so like, but they're probably grown up now, right?
Yeah, my oldest is actually 23. So, yeah, it's like Josh's age.
Yeah, I'm 25. So
Yeah,
And
you,
I'm 26.
you kids are so young, man.
I am
You got the
26.
whole world in front of you.
Jesus. Josh knows how old I am. I don't.
Man. I mean,
Yeah, so-
That's right.
I
This is
haven't
the
played a
US. I
lot of
don't have
games
health
either,
insurance.
but it's crazy. There was some comment earlier. Oh yeah, Death A7X wants you to save your drum kit for Little Sid.
Yeah.
yeah, I know. I was gonna do that. I was thinking of actually selling it because I'm like, I don't use it anymore. But I was thinking of saving it because I'm like, you know what? It would be really cool if our kid like gets into music, and I don't want to like force them to play violin or something. I'm like, maybe they'll get into drums.
When you have a pretty
There,
nice
man,
kit, you don't
that's
just
where
have the
it's
stock
at.
kit, right?
Yeah, I bought like mine's kind of a Frankenstein kit because I bought different pieces of like Roland equipment and Yamaha and just kind of I bought like a separate stand and stuff. So it's kind of it's kind of like a TD9 with like a bunch of different extras.
Yeah, my buddy that was really into the game and actually bought the God, what is it? The nice
Adapter?
official one. The
Oh, the Ion drum kit.
there you go, the Ion drum kit.
Okay, yeah.
And like he moved about 7 months ago, and everything is just like shoved in his garage. I go over there the other day, finally got like half of it, unpacked, and like he's got like the crappy official one, and then he's got like the Ion behind it, and they're just like stuffed into this corner, of the garage. It's like, oh Jesus, spent all that money on that thing.
Well, I was, I haven't even been playing customs. I've been checking the customs to see what's out there.
You know what that means? Well, for old time's sake.
Oh, I forgot about that. But even like the customs, I haven't played in God knows how long, like probably 6 months. Just because sometimes it's a hassle to go through, like, transfer the stuff on your USB and whatnot. And
It's
Spend more
been
time.
so worth it.
Spend more time getting it
one
set up and getting the songs you want than you would actually playing at that point.
yeah, but I'm kind of amazed that Harmonix is still supporting the game. Like, there still must be a core audience who's paying for the music and playing
there
online.
is. There's a core audience.
I've always wondered at this point, like, say they release a new song, even if it's not some super popular, big mega hit, just how many copies does it still sell at this point?
I'd be curious to know that too. It's a good guess. I think it's probably a lot less than the people who were like playing Rock Band 3 before they stopped DLC for it.
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I would bet you there's less people playing Rock Band 4 period than even Rock Band 3 at its lowest point.
Because they said that when they announced Rock Band 4, they said there were still a couple, like 150 to 200,000 people still playing Rock Band 3 even after the DLC was discontinued. So I don't think it's that number for Rock Band 4.
Man.
Oh, I bet those people moved over to Rock Band 4. I bet you.
Well, I mean, I think 150,000 moved over. It wasn't the millions. And at this point, how many people are still playing even up to 150,000?
Is Harmonix working on anything else at this moment? Because I haven't been keeping up.
But there was a publishing deal they made with this publisher, NC Soft. I believe they're based out of South Korea, and they usually make like MMO type things. This was just after July's episode.
Maybe or something, or E3. Did they announce a couple things? They announced a couple small things though.
Well, you heard it here first. The first MMO music rhythm game.
The whole reason they did that, this was from like last month. The whole reason they did that was to actually go beyond that sort of MMORPG space. But given that that's what they're known for, and Harmonix is looking to branch out soon, it's possible it might be something like, again, another sort of A City Sleeps, if anybody's played that game on Steam.
Yeah, no, nobody played that.
But I heard like whoever did play it seemed like it had a positive response.
It did, but a lot of people were also really expecting to play that Chroma game before that got shut down.
Wasn't City Sleeps like a version of Chroma? Or
in a sense, it was. It's like how Drop Mix started as this like thing, Project Clash or whatever, and then it sort of evolved from there, and now everybody's trying to get these trading cards of things.
Did you guys ever play Drop Mix?
Nope.
No. Harmonix refuses to send us a thing because we called them out for how bad they were.
Like the most affordable it was like, I think 40 or 50.
Yeah, Best Buy had it a few months ago. They finally got rid of it, and I didn't notice it when it happened, but they were selling it for like $30 if you still had the store.
Oh, that's a good deal.
Yeah,
Look,
I still get yelled
game.
at by our we have the little stand, and every time you walk by it still talks, hey, Drop Mix, and starts giving you a little tutorial. But we don't have any to sell.
That's hilarious. You know what? My wife loves board games more than video games, so I'm like, maybe I should see if I can get it here.
I want to
find
play
it.
Cards Against Humanity with more people because I've got the set. I just haven't had the time for it.
Drop Mix would be such a great game if it didn't start at 100, and 50 feels like
And
too
not
much
to mention
for
the
it.
extra cards, because the more there is a season 2, and there is this like single player puzzle mode, and they are adding stuff to it in modes. But if it's $100 at the minimum right now, if it's not on sale, on top of however much it is for extra packs.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much to ask.
Then again, this is kind of hypocritical considering how much money we've all probably spent on DLC over the years for
Yeah.
Rock
I mean,
Band.
Well, yeah, but when
and
you're
other
doing
games.
DLC, you're spending $2 on a song. It's buying the big plastic thing. If they would have found a way to incorporate it into like a phone app or something like that, and you just bought packs of cards, I could have seen that working properly.
Are any of you guys happy that they brought back some of the RBN songs like for DLC?
Yes
I think it's
no. Yes,
yeah.
because one of them, Knife Man by the Bronx a couple weeks ago, was never on PS3, so that was kind of nice. However, I'm not a fan of Sony's greedy policy of charging way more for stuff than they need to, because some RBN songs that were $1 or $2 are now $3.
Yeah,
Josh,
because of the exchange.
Canada was getting a. Remember when we went over this one day when we figured out that because of the exchange rate, you guys have been getting them cheaper than America for like
Yeah, that doesn't
7
mean I still
years,
can't
and then
be
you
unhappy
finally
about
got
it.
a $1 increase. I mean,
Like, Keith, math has never really been my strong suit in this case, but the thing is, like, you think at first they're going to start bringing over the more popular ones, because it started with like Bodies and Higher, which were like the 2 most selling, and then they kind of went all over the place. And one of the ones like Pac-Man Fever was like 927 or something on like some rough list in the forums of top selling RBN songs on the 360. So there's no pattern to it. So it's nice, but since we don't know from season to season how much of them are and for how long.
I mean, let's be honest. It's their cheap
It's
way
new.
to continue to support the game.
It's
yeah,
new.
it's an easy
to
way for them to
RB4.
put new songs that are already basically done into the game to have new. Because I mean, how many times have we complained about? Hey, there's a new DLC this week. There's 1 new song and 3 rewinds or something like that. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
they
now
weren't
there's
even
2
getting
new
necessarily
songs.
more than 1 new song
They're
every
half off.
single week. So
I
mean,
wanted to respond to a couple comments earlier. So Corey Bernier says Rock Band still doesn't have enough classic rock. Funny you mentioned, considering last week we actually got a pretty neat classic rock song.
Yeah.
If you like alcoholic beverages and getting wet for no reason.
all right, well, so we have to have a little bit of structure to this show today. So why don't we start with, if we were going to kind of do a couple things like favorite memory of the show and favorite memory of Rock Band itself. So why don't we start with our favorite memory of Rock Band?
Rock
the
Band.
game, whether
So
it's
I think
whatever.
because Dave and Sid, you guys are obviously the first two. One of you should start us off.
I want Sid. I think when Sid and I started this show and Harmonix had recognized us enough to get those Road Crew bundles, I think highlighted everything that I had been excited about for this show, to the extent that I even went out and bought another band kit, and both of them are basically trash now. But that like approach to that level where Sid and I were in the ultimate hype, we were getting Road Crew things, we were making weird videos. And that was the highlight of this show. And it's that community, it's the group of people who've listened since the beginning, Alien, Myth, Chubb stuff. I know I'm going to forget people here. But there's people who are still listening from, the early days, who have followed us through like 3 YouTube channels, multiple iTunes corruption feed things where we fixed it and hopefully people didn't really notice. But like, I don't know. This has been the most fun podcast I've done. It's fostered its own separate community from everything else I've done. And after walking away from most of the podcast things I'm doing at this point, this show will always stand out as like one of the high points in podcasting for me in general. The community that circled around it was so incredible. And working with Sid and getting Josh and Keith in here and taking people who were actually watching us live and interacting with the chat. This has been the highlight of my podcasting time over anything else. Sid?
Yeah, so I mean, my favorite Rock Band memory is probably goes back to all the way to like 2000, late 2007 to like 2009-ish, because that's when like it was sort of at its peak popularity. Like, remember when Rock Band 1 first came out, and I remember at that time I didn't have a driver's license even though I was like 20, and it was like the middle of winter in Canada, and I called all the Blockbusters, which were a thing back then. Remember Blockbuster existed?
God, I used to work there part-time.
Yeah, my brother used to work at Blockbuster, and there was only one Blockbuster in Edmonton that had the Rock Band band kit, and everywhere else that had it was like marked up to like $500 or $1,000. So I was able to get the Blockbuster to like hold it for me, and I had never taken public transit in my life before at that time. So I was gonna like
didn't have a license, and you'd never done
I was a university student, man. I was like a hermit. I would go to school, like, and I'd study, and that's basically my life. I'm much more capable of doing adult stuff now. So at that time I was gonna like, I was gonna go on the bus. I was gonna figure out how to get to the bus to the Blockbuster on like the west end of the city, which is really far from where I lived at that point. And then thankfully, I was talking to a friend of mine who was in my class, and I said, yeah, I'm trying to get the Rock Band bundle. He's like, hey man, I'll drive you if you want. I'm like, sure. And so him and I went to the Blockbuster, picked it up, and then like we jammed on that game like for a couple hours at least. And the first time we played it was so much fun. And then, Rock Band 2 came out. Rock Band 2 was so awesome. And remember, some people got the game early, and like they had an in-game message saying, oh, you got the game early. It was so much fun being able to like jump online, not having to deal with like all this crap that was with Rock Band 4 that we weren't happy about. Yeah, that was probably my favorite. And then the podcasting was, I think, just all the hype was probably like my favorite. Like when Rock Band 4 was announced, like never thought in a million years, 2 years after they stopped DLC, they announced another Rock Band. And then, as we started to play the game and, we did the road crew stuff, it became apparent like it was kind of a half-baked attempt at Rock Band 1 and 2. I mean, it helped me really with the podcasting I'm doing today, like on my other channel and stuff. So, I mean, I got to thank Dave because I didn't know about Google Hangouts and using iTunes and doing all that stuff. So I got to thank Dave for that.
One of my favorite moments ever was finding your channel because I was in such a hype, and you had like no subscribers at that point yet.
Yeah,
like you had a couple, and I remember like trying to hunt down your Twitter. Like I was like, I gotta contact this guy. Like this is gonna be the thing. We're gonna do this show, and it's gonna be awesome. And I go to your Twitter, and you have one other follower than me.
Yeah,
I was like, well, he'll answer me.
Yeah. So then Dave sends me a message, and he's like, "Hey, you want to do a podcast?" And I was like, man, I don't really know how to do a podcast. And then he was able to explain it to me. So I'm like, oh, it seems easy enough. So yeah, I remember every week we would do one. It'd be like there'd be news to talk about, and and then it kind of Keith and then Josh joined, and yeah, it was such an exciting period of time. But that's basically my memories. Like my favorite memories are that 2007 to 2008 period, where I was literally playing the game for hours every day, especially when I moved up north, like after university in 2009. I didn't have anybody, I didn't know anybody, but like the one thing that sort of kept me happy was just playing Rock Band every day when I come home from work.
Josh, you want to go or you want me to go?
You can go. I've got some stuff, but I'll save it for last.
Okay. Well, I guess for me, as far as the show, I mean, just finding it. I think I found it through. God, what was it? God, I forget what the name of that website was that we used so long ago.
Rock Band-Aid?
Rock Band-Aid?
Yes, there we go. Rock Band-Aid. I found the show through Rock Band-Aid, and started listening to it. I don't know how far past it was on at that point. I mean, I know I didn't catch it like episode 1 or anything like that. I'm not sure where it was exactly, but started listening to it, enjoyed the show, and it was I think if I remember right, when I first hunted you guys down, I think it was like just after they announced Rock Band 4, I think, but I can't remember for certain if it was before or after the actual announcement. But it was really fun. Just I'd never done podcasting before. I loved from like when I did work at a video game store, like having like game arguments with people, and the show kind of brings back that feeling. That podcasts are kind of like a forum, but for people in a room. So it's much nicer than doing that. So that was really cool. It just brought back that memory. As far as something I wasn't involved with, having Josh Harrison on the show, just having Harmonix actually send somebody official.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah, yeah, just having somebody like that official was amazing.
Keith, I would say meeting you in person was amazing too. Like the fact that you and I've gotten to play the game together.
Yeah, and for it to be the day Rivals came out too, it was like, what kind of coincidence is that? That's when I'm gonna be up in Cleveland. Like, okay, perfect timing.
Yeah.
As far as the game, I mean, I remember when it was announced, because I remember Guitar Hero, and I didn't play Guitar Hero like crazy, but I had friends that had showed me it, and I played it and enjoyed it. But I'd always enjoyed singing. So when they announced Rock Band, and I saw that it was Harmonix making it, it had done nothing but music. I was all in like right away. I think it was two other buddies kind of all put in on the kit, and we were just kind of rotating it, or we'd go and we'd have people would come over and we'd just get together and play games and drink like on a Friday or Saturday night. But just so many memories of like just being up late, with friends, like in the room is obviously the best way to play the game. I mean, I still think Rock Band is the best party game ever made. Even more so than like a Mario Kart or something like that.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
I will fight anybody who thinks that Smash Brothers is a better party game than Rock Band.
I mean, Smash Brothers isn't even a good fighting game, so let's not bring that game up. But that's what I remember. I mean, for the game itself, to me, Beatles Rock Band is the highlight. I mean,
I love that game.
All the Rock Band games, they've all been very good, and I enjoy the core gameplay. And even like with 4, I enjoyed the goofy kind of campaign mode to a certain extent. But Beatles Rock Band was just such a step beyond. I mean, I took the whole day off of work, got it at like midnight, played for like 4 hours at night, slept, woke up, finished the whole campaign like in day 1, because I found out beforehand there was an achievement for that if you beat it in 24 hours, there was an achievement. So, but it was so phenomenal. The dreamscapes for each song, it was just
the attention to detail.
It's a beautiful game.
But yeah, and I like the Beatles, but I didn't grow up on the Beatles. The things that really turned me onto the Beatles, honestly, were the movie Across the Universe.
Love Across the Universe. Top 10
and
movies.
Beatles Rock Band. They're just amazing experiences.
Yeah, that Beatles Rock Band. I wasn't a huge Beatles fan growing up, but like I'm starting to appreciate their music a lot more as I get older into my senior age. And it was funny. I saw
32.
The Beatles Rock Band I was at Walmart one day, a couple years out, maybe a year after it came out, and it was like in a bargain bin. And I was like, of course I was in a rock band, but I'm like, I'll give the Beatles Rock Band a try. And sure, I mean, the songs are not super complicated, but the way the game is put together is just so beautiful. Yeah.
Rock Band Green Day is a joke when you look at Rock Band Beatles.
God, I remember I bought Rock Band Green Day. I told myself I wasn't going to.
I told myself the same thing too.
And I went out on a Friday night. I took it home. I played for like 2 hours, and I was like, F this. I exported the songs and took it back.
Well, now with customs, you can play all the Beatles Rock Band songs on Rock Band 3.
I've never tried to do it. If I'm going to play the Beatles songs, I figure I'll put in Beatles Rock Band.
Yeah. It is really cool, though, to play it in Rock Band 3.
Yeah, it'd be different.
Yeah, it's not that, of course, it's going to be the same experience because the dreamscapes are so pretty, but...
Yeah, they need to move the dreamscapes over into Rock Band 3 and then replace all the character models with, like, your weird band people.
I mean, I don't know. If you wanted to do something like the Sgt. Pepper's era songs, you could try and find rock shop items that kind of look like that.
But that's the point. I want it to look completely just a pose, like it not to look right at all, but...
Oh God, I forgot all about.
They have custom animations yet.
I forgot all about Alien Myth. Just reminded me that Rock Band Japan was.
Yeah, I remember Rock Band.
Oh yeah.
And then we never heard crickets for like years. And then
it never happened. Yeah.
And then we got X Japan one song, and we got the one Baby Metal song, and that's our Rock Band Japan.
Yeah, we got a couple Baby Metal songs, didn't we?
No, just the one.
We
just got Give Me Chocolate this era. That's it.
Well, it was hilarious because we announced it and we didn't hear anything. And we were like, oh yeah, we figured Japanese people have really small homes and cluttering it with plastic probably wouldn't be the best idea. Wouldn't sell a lot of
Japanese
copies.
homes are so small that they waited. The PlayStation 2 is the best selling console of all time, mainly because of the DVD player.
Yeah.
Good God.
And you remember Rock Band Pearl Jam was announced, or at least there's like a lot.
That was the strangest thing. Was there not an advertisement for it?
Yeah, there
was like a little insert with
did,
the Rock Band
and
3.
They had if I remember right, what is it when they brought the songs over to Rock Band 3? Like they already had like
They already have
harmonies or something like that because of being set up for the game or something like that.
I remember there was like the website where it had a huge list of tracks and people could vote on which ones they wanted in there.
Man.
Wow.
And
I think that was just before we got 10 though, as DLC and Backspacer and whatnot.
That was after. Go ahead, Sid.
I was to say Pearl Jam or Oasis is probably like my favorite band. So not getting that, even if it was just a crappy like rock band sort of, or like a Green Day version, I would have still enjoyed it just to have as many Pearl Jam songs as possible.
It's such a shame. Like they never released any other Pearl Jam songs. Like we have all of 10, we have all of Backspacer, but like Versus, there's nothing from, and like their other albums.
Corduroy, and it's
yeah. So I'm kind of surprised, but you can get them on customs, guys. I've got a ton of Pearl Jam songs on Rock Band 3, but it's kind of funny. You mentioned Oasis. So on my other channel, GNR Central, there's a running joke that like everybody hates Oasis except me. And like every time we end a podcast, I'm like, oh, so let's get to the Oasis news. And Jeff is my host, and he always just rolls his eyes.
Wow,
like,
Jeff from Character Crunch really gets around.
Yeah. So like people are joking, like Sid, you should start Oasis Central. Like that should be your next show.
Oasis Central.
There's always some news with Oasis because somebody's punching one of the brothers. I mean, it's never know which one's doing the punching and which one's doing the getting hit. But.
And I also said during one of the podcasts that I think I'd rather listen to Oasis than the Beatles. Like I like the Beatles, but I like Oasis better.
Whoa.
See, I love Oasis.
Big words.
But I can only listen to so much. Like there's probably like 3 albums worth of good Oasis songs and then a lot of crap.
Yeah.
Whereas there's a million great, Beatles songs.
Yeah,
Josh, what about you? What do you got?
Well, I'll go Rock Band Memories first. I would say when I first heard of the game, this was like when I was first starting to get into like the 5-button rhythm games because I had played DDR before high school in like grade 7, 8, so I knew of rhythm games. But a good friend of mine got the Rock Band 1 Band in a Box on PS3 just after the game came out. So at his place, I was playing the drums a lot. So I really started to get good at the drums. And then I think a year later, I got my own console and a copy of and I got a Rock Band 2 Band in a Box in the first game. And basically, I kind of just played a lot of drums from there. I've gotten pretty decent on all the instruments. I think one of my favorite moments, again, was really getting to experience a lot of the Beatles music and Beatles Rock Band, not just because the Dreamscapes were pretty, but I think my parents have a copy of Sgt. Pepper's on vinyl, and I think it was partially in part to playing the Beatles Rock Band that I got interested in actually listening to that album. And on top of that, all the other bands I got into because I heard them in Rock Band, especially with the Rock Band Network, because I was like almost done high school when Rock Band Network was sort of at its peak, and I got introduced to a lot of stuff that I really enjoyed and some stuff that I wish had stuck around so I could have grabbed it, because even though we had until like earlier this year before it all went away, I only started playing on the 360 in like 2014, so I didn't have as much time to catch up there. But that, and also finding out about customs before I got my 360, I'm like, that was the sole reason I got it, so I could get Rock Band 3 and get some custom songs and just go nuts. It was definitely worth it, because now it's like I feel like that, and it's a good thing and a bad thing, because on one hand, I never really have to worry about any big songs not coming to the actual game because I don't need to. But on the other hand, it's kind of numbed me to really getting excited about DLC for this generation, because most of it's been customs for several years, or it's just stuff I don't necessarily care for.
Yeah, I agree. Like even when I remember before customs were a thing, like I was so excited every Friday or like every Monday whenever they changed the announcement to, or Tuesday, that like I looked forward to like every morning I go check. I remember when the game first came out, like this website crashed so much because there were so many people playing the game who wanted to check what the DLC was.
Man, do you remember that Welcome to the Jungle video they showed that looked like Guitar Hero 2?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember.
That was my ultimate. That was my ultimate level of hype for Rock Band, because I had played years. I mean, years of Karaoke Revolution and DDR, and I had just been binging through Guitar Hero 1 and 2 at that point, playing Roxy 80s, Encore, the whole thing. I was like, I say Rock Band, Guitar Hero. And I was so ready for that game. Rock Band 1, Christmas, whatever year that came out. Opened that Band box for my PS3. Holy jeez. This is a fat PS3, a 60 gig PS3.
Those were the days when backwards compatibility was actually built in.
Yeah, that thing where the PS3 is actually capable of playing PS2 and 1 games.
And
somehow the PS4 is only capable of playing PS2 games, but not PS1 games.
But can't you play them on the PlayStation Now or whatever that streaming service is?
Yeah,
I don't think it's stable enough. In my opinion, I don't really trust it.
If you have a decent internet connection, it works pretty good if you're hardwired. It's just, if you're trying to play Rock Band, it's probably not great because it's so timing intensive. If you want to play like Final Fantasy, it's fine.
God, I wish that Sony would just, stop dicking around and just release SOCOM and let you play online. I miss that game so much.
That joke will never die.
That game had such an important part of my childhood. That game,
Sid, I wonder if you and I ever ran into each other on SOCOM 2 online.
Oh, probably.
I wonder.
So much SOCOM 1 and SOCOM 2. SOCOM 3, I kind of, that's when the game kind of went downhill. The combined assault was okay, but SOCOM 1 and 2, I put so many hours into. I remember we had to, remember we used to get rankings. You'd be the 28,000th best player. I remember one Christmas I was up to 28,000. My parents decided to go out of town and take me with them, and then when I came back, I dropped to 100,000. I had my priorities straight in life then.
I was number 9 on the SSX3 leaderboards when that game shut down.
And I remember
I've got some podcast stories though.
Yeah, I've been number 1 on. What was the last thing I was number 1 on in Rock Band? I think at one point I was number 1 on singing Lasso back when it was actually an on disc Rock Band 3 song, and quite a few people were actually doing it.
What are you gonna say, Josh?
I was gonna say that I think the fact in terms of my favorite memories with this podcast, I mentioned some of them in the beginning, but just being able to actually really connect with people in this tight-knit community and be able to, through the road crew, which I was not expecting to really get in at all because I wasn't really any sort of known Twitch streamer in the community. I didn't have any sort of social following.
See, that's funny. I knew Sid would get one. I knew Sid would get one.
I didn't think I would because I don't I go through that whole thing where I'm I don't know if they know who I am, and then I remember I was so excited to film it. It was so exciting to film it and watch everybody else's. I still remember mine. I was sitting on the toilet playing a solo on the guitar, and then I had to get my wife to film that. And then I remember driving for a block in my car and having the guitar sit in the passenger seat and pretend to talk to it.
I'm still convinced that my daughter is the reason that I got it, because she went to a creative arts school and had the punk rock hair, and I think it was Allie that did the picking of people back then.
Yeah,
if I remember right. And she had a very similar haircut. So
I had no right getting a band kit harmonic.
Impressive. So, hey,
Alex
has arrived. One of my good friends that I met because of this game. That was also the really neat thing about doing this podcast. We did get to have people from the community. We had Alex, we had Lammy on one episode, which was really awesome. We had, of course, Josh Harrison. We had a whole bunch of people. And I think just really being able to, I've been listening to podcasts that in other communities that I follow, and I've been there since the beginning, but I've always been sort of a listener for the most part. But here it's something else.
This show, and I'll say this show's community is different than other ones because a lot of communities continue to grow.
He's totally not just saying that.
And you recognize a lot of the same names and stuff, but this show's community was so small, but active and interactive, and we were all talking, Jackie, Chubb stuff, Alien Myth, all these people, Alex. I knew all these names. And it felt like we all kind of knew each other. It was small enough that we could keep track of it. Versus you listen to these bigger shows or even these shows with, 3 times the listenership that we do. And their communities are small, not huge, but they're they're big enough that I can't keep track of who's who, like who sent these emails in. You know, like, but this, I feel like I knew everybody in this group.
Yeah, that's, I know. I follow the Player One podcast, and they have a bigger viewership than us, but it's a similar type of feeling. I recognize enough people like on their forums and things of that nature, where it's like that. What was, I guess, when the show was at its biggest, when Rock Band was big, what was like the most views we would get on?
Was it 400 to 500?
We were rocking about 400 on YouTube and 400 on iTunes.
So that's nothing to scoff at.
No. There were 800 people listening to this show at some point. Which, that's huge. That's more than I ever would ask.
You know what blew my mind? When Alien Myth made fan art of the three of us.
Oh my God, yes.
I never expected to have anybody draw me at all. And the fact that we all looked half decent, especially Keith, with yes, I saw the best band member meme. That's another one of my favorite moments. Well, I never expected us to get to that
best
level.
LRC member. Yeah.
Close enough.
And you know what? That's absolutely true. Like on my other channel, like we have tons, like thousands of subscribers, but I never get artwork sent to me of myself. It's kind of bizarre. Instead, and this is kind of I get like a lot of emails from really strange people thinking that I'm somehow connected with the band, and and it's just creepy, some of it.
But see, like we never got anything weird. Like nothing weird ever happened with this show. Like
nobody would ever think we'd be with Harmonix and be like, "Hey, can you tell me this? Or are you guys going to release this song?"
No, we would have had to be one of those streamers that that was the weird thing I was going to actually say is like I didn't expect to get into Road Crew, although even though the Rock Band Twitter had been following me for like a year before, and like I knew people that were there, but at the same time, it was just like it was better to get something for free than to have to spend a whole bunch of money. But it's such a strange thing as I look at it now. Like this podcast is coming to an end, and I'm trying to sell some of my old guitars and the drum set from Rock Band 4 that I haven't used because I have my E-kit. There was another thing with like Rock Band related. I got my kit and no one had tried E-kits yet, and so I plugged mine in and it just worked. And I remember I had like actually well-known people in the RB community watching my stream because I was one of the first people I think to get my stuff up and running. And I remember I FC'd I Bet My Life on Pro Drums, which isn't a big deal, but the fact that the E-kit worked no problem like that, like that was a big deal. I'm saying on PS4 because people didn't know in general if E-kits worked at all.
Right. FedEx decided to not ship mine to my apartment, and I was going to end up waiting like an extra week, and the game was going to be out at that point. So I remember driving to the FedEx store like 45 minutes away and being like, "You have a box for me in this office. Like, please give me my box."
And you remember when some people got like 2 guitars instead of one?
Yes. Yeah.
God, see that was the first sign.
Well, and the funny thing was, I think if I remember right, every single person got 2 sent out. They just got some of them back for the people that did not get their Rock Band stuff like immediately. Like I was really hoping to have mine like that weekend before the game came out, and some people did, and I didn't get mine until like Monday or Tuesday.
I had to go pick mine up the Friday before the weekend. Yeah, and they said you have 2. But 1 is sent to go back.
Mm-hmm. They still had mine. They would not let me take it.
They wouldn't let me have it either. And it was in the FedEx office. They were like, "No, this has been requested to come back." I'm like,
you know what another cool thing about this podcast is? We were actually able to do like giveaway type stuff, as Tim Berg points out that they got free DLC from you because when we had extra codes, we would do giveaways. And you guys gave away, was it a code for Rock Band 4 or a code for Rivals?
We did Rivals.
Rivals we gave away.
I did. Yeah. I gave an ACDC code away too.
I think I gave a Bad Catholics code away or 2 when those were easy to get.
I mean, I always said if Harmonix ever gave us like a decent amount of codes, that they would give me, 1 round for the DLC and an extra. Even if they gave me 1 round for the DLC, I'd probably I would have given away 1 every week when we were doing this. But yeah. They didn't love us enough. Only Josh liked us. By that I mean Josh Harrison.
I just realized I still have my road crew clip in my documents. I was trying to find a picture like that I had saved of like the LRC art, and I don't know where I put it, but I don't have it.
I have
I,
it.
I see it. I see it like on our page, but I don't have like the standalone like picture or something like that.
I have them. I have them somewhere if you need it. God, this show was something so incredible, and I'm glad Sid's here. I'm sad that we couldn't like bring everybody in here. Would have been amazing.
Well, remember when we used to have Elliot on from like
Elliot and Oscar
Yeah.
and Nick.
what was it? What
Oscar.
site is Elliot from? The Hero Feed.
It was the Hero Feed until it was shut down, or I guess he shut it down earlier this year. But the Riff Repeater is still around.
Everybody was smart enough not to make a new rock band podcast, though. Nobody brought back Star Power. Nobody brought back any of those because they all knew we were.
Harmonix didn't even bring a podcast back. Why should anybody else?
It came back for like a few episodes, and then it just kind of stopped. And
then they
started doing the
pivoted to
stream, but
Twitch.
they never put it. Even when they did bring it back, they never put it on like iTunes. It was just you had to see it then and there or something, or it was on something like SoundCloud or something goofy.
Yeah, they couldn't even figure out how to get an RSS feed working. Harmonix.
Yeah, so
You're in a
basically,
music studio.
So like I guess we'll be back then once Rock Band 5 is announced for the next generation.
Yeah.
If they bring it back, then I will be back. And you know what? Other than the licensing hangups, there's no reason from all indications, anything that came out on like Xbox or PS4 is most likely going to work on Xbox, whatever they're calling it, Xbox 2, PlayStation 5, at least backwards compatibility.
Unless Sony wants to be a dick and say no.
I don't think that Sony's trying to be a dick when it comes to like PlayStation 3 stuff. I think the cell processor is just that much of an issue. But going from PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5 should be the hardware is identical. So it really should just be not literally flipping a switch.
5?
No.
They've just announced that they are working on future hardware. Nothing official.
Mm-hmm.
All scuttlebutt seems to indicate 2000.
I had another memory I didn't want to forget about.
Sure.
The fact that I feel like we were also able to help people in our community out with other projects like PNG, for example.
Yeah.
Forgot all about PNG.
Oh
PNG and
he's been on here a few times.
I'm ultra friends with him on Pokemon Go. He doesn't do his show anymore. He does streaming on Twitch a little bit. He's playing the Crash Insane trilogy. It's the last thing I saw him playing.
Well, I gotta ask you guys, what made you guys decide to end the podcast?
Lack of news.
Well, well, we've been monthly for a while. And that's been weird. And there's nothing left here to talk about. And it's us repeating the same things over and over and over. And not that we don't love this show, not that I don't love talking to Josh and Keith every week or every month. If we find something else, if you heard the three of our voices on something else, I wouldn't be surprised. It's a matter of what that is. Sid, I'm going to come on your Guns N' Roses show that I didn't know existed.
I'm just saying that you guys should come on GNR Central's podcast.
I mean, I would, but I don't feel like I have much to contribute.
Nah, I mean, maybe if I would have gone to that show when they were in Cincinnati, but ticket prices were just a little bit too steep.
My co-host, Jeff, he lives in Cincinnati. He went to that show, and Steven Adler showed up.
Seriously?
Yes, that's the show. Actually, we might be going to LA next week.
No, I remember Steven Adler showed up. I'm just surprised that the guy that does the show with you is in Cincinnati.
He lives in Cincinnati, and him and I met. We went to LA last November to see Guns N' Roses because we made friends with like this guy who lives in LA. He's like a hardcore collector. He's got like tons of stuff in his collection that like even rare recordings that aren't on YouTube. And he took us under his wing and said, "Hey, I'll get you tickets." And we went and we stayed.
I remember when you went and you put up some pictures. I just had no idea the guy was local.
Oh yeah, no. Jeff is from Cincinnati. I think he's born in Ohio, and we become really good friends. Like he's my co-host. He helps me out with a bunch of stuff and books interviews, and it's almost become its own community. But like I wouldn't have learned all this stuff if it wasn't for Living Room Clutter and doing the YouTube channel. And I remember even before I started the Rock Gamer, I was like I wanted to do something on YouTube, but I wasn't sure. And being really focused on something like Rock Band and Guitar Hero helped me with that.
Yeah. Guys,
but you guys are welcome anytime on GNR Central.
I mean, I know nothing about Guns N' Roses, but that might almost be the fun part.
I remember Guns N' Roses. I remember distinctly. I mean, I remember them. That was I was that age in the '80s when they kind of came on the scene. I distinctly remember staring at the artwork inside Appetite for Destruction forever.
Yeah, and the reissue of Appetite came out last June.
Yeah. So now I definitely enjoy Guns N' Roses. I just, as Axl slowly self-sabotaged the band, obviously they went away.
They've somehow got their act together. Like you're right. The tickets were ridiculously priced. Like when they came here, I bought like the cheapest tickets possible, and we were up in the nosebleeds. And okay.
I think the nosebleeds when they played in the Cincinnati Bengals stadium when they came here.
Yeah.
And if I remember right, nosebleed tickets were like $175.
Oh my God,
it was insane.
That sounds about right. They're so expensive. That's why they're like the 4th highest grossing tour of all time or something. Because they've been, and somehow Axl shows up on time. He showed up on time on both the gigs that I went to, and like he didn't make any fuss. They did a 3.5 hour long show.
Well, that's what happens when you burn through your money and
when
you
run out of money and you need more money.
Yeah.
And then Slash is going through a divorce. I don't know if you guys have been reading the headlines, like how scary that is, but yeah.
That's like his 3rd divorce, if I remember
correctly.
It's
a 2nd divorce.
Does that make it the charm?
Yeah, 3rd time's the charm, right?
Does it mean he only has a quarter of his money left?
No, he gets to keep all his Guns N' Roses money. So he was never married during like his time when he made all that money in Guns N' Roses.
Oh, well, that's good.
So that's all that counts.
Speaking of making lots of money, this is the end of our show.
Yeah.
We made so much here. All 12 cents. The people who supported this show on Patreon, a lot of you guys who supported the dacespace Patreon when it existed, have continued to leave that site up and running until 2019 of next year. Like October 2019. The site will run because of you guys contributed that much. And I appreciate so much of you guys. Living Room Clutter is by far probably my favorite podcast I've done. I know, John, if you're listening, I don't even do that show with you and Jeff. I hated Breaking Bad. It was a terrible show.
There's something wrong with you. That show is amazing and a great contribution to society.
You know what? I could love talking TV shows with you guys because we discovered a new TV show that's one of my favorite TV shows. It's called Gigolos. It's a reality show set in Las Vegas about these real life gigolos, and it's so good. I'm almost done all 6 seasons. We're so close to being done.
What was the alternate URL for Rock Gamer? It was
promotion dating.
No, it was like The Bachelor.
Oh,
The Bachelor. Well, I want to ask you, do you guys watch Ozark at all?
I do. Ozark's good. I haven't seen season 2 yet, though, so don't tell me squat. That's like next on my list.
I'm on the last episode of season 2, and yes, it's good, but there's some stuff that's frustrating me with the show.
Yeah.
But then I got to start watching Jack Ryan. That's like another show I got to start.
That was
watching.
all right. It's all right, but short, very short.
Yeah. Well, I think Amazon's trying to dip their toe into live streaming, and that's one of the few shows they have.
No,
guys. Josh, I'm gonna let you say something here because I feel like you're itching to say something.
I mean, I don't have much else to say other than we're not, like we said earlier, we're not going away forever. It's just goodbye for now. And if anyone out there that's listening to this is interested in sort of keeping Rhythm Game podcasts going, you can start your own.
It'll be the number one podcast.
And you can do it on Twitch, and you can get a Patreon going, and you can hopefully do it better and more consistently than we were able to. But
hey, I'm not hoping for anybody to do better than us. All right, calm down.
Fine, on equal footing. But I'm reflecting on the whole bunch of instruments that are in my room that I'm gonna try and get rid of, and everything's changing. I'm trying to pare down on stuff, and I'm playing rhythm games less and less. But
Sid, you need to do me a favor and not sell your drum kit. You can sell all the other hardware. I don't care.
I don't want to sell the drum kit. I feel like I got to clean the dust off of it though.
It's got too much sentimental value.
I know,
even if you were to pack it up really nice, into nice bags or something, that'd be fine. But don't sell it.
Well, it's funny because I listen to so much music when I'm driving around or I'm walking around, and I always listen to drum parts. I'm I really need to go play drums. Because I feel it's funny, being so far away from Rock Band for 4 or 5 months or however long I've been away, I feel I've got to become a better drummer because I've just been listening more to music and focusing so close on those drum parts. I'm starting to learn by ear so well. I feel if I get behind the drum kit, I could play a lot better than I was doing before.
And here's my word of advice to you, Josh, which is what sparked this. Keep a band kit. a full 2 guitars, 1 drum kit that works, and a microphone. Always and forever. Because the reality is my Rock Band 3 hardware was so bad. By the time Rock Band 4 came out, I needed the new hardware. And I don't even know if my Rock Band 3 hardware works at all at this point to play it. So
I mean,
I'd regret it
wrong.
I'd regret it if I couldn't play it again.
Yeah.
Ever. Just because I'm not playing it right now doesn't mean I don't want to play it ever again.
Yeah, let me clarify a bit. So I'm trying to sell the Rivals Jaguar because I never used it. I found the first Strat worked better. And I'm selling one of the GH Live guitars for right now for PS4 because I only really need one. And then again, the game is going to become an offline only game as of December 1st anyways. So I'm keeping one guitar to at least play the live mode if I'm ever interested. Who knows? Maybe next year I'll sell that too.
Wait a minute. Rock Band 3 is going to stop having online play?
No, not Rock Band 3.
The Guitar Hero Live.
Oh, Guitar Hero Live. Oh, okay.
Yeah, GHTV's done as of really the end of November, but December 1st it's going to cease to exist. But again, that's a game I haven't even played in a year or so anyways.
Guitar Hero Live was in Five Below like 6 months ago. Okay.
Someone asked me earlier what we thought about Clone Hero's new game, but I didn't even know they were putting anything out. I heard they were working on something, but it's like Rock Band 3 Customs. Clone Hero is basically the future of Guitar Hero Customs.
Yeah.
Keith?
So we hope it continues.
Nope, I've had a great time doing the show. You know, it's always been fun. You know, it's whether it was, you know, just listening to stuff that I wasn't aware of, interacting with people. I mean, the art took the cake. That was so funny, and seeing that, and I remember showing it to my girlfriend at the time, and what a good laugh she got out of people drawing that of me. It was a good time. Had a great time, being on here. If, friends from the show, I'm sure we'll still keep the LRC chat running. So when we see something that we want to tell people about.
No, and by no stretch, we probably should re-add Sid to that group chat.
Yeah, you guys should add me. I'm on Twitter. I don't use my other Twitter. I use my main one, which is GNR Central News. Or GNR Daily News. I think it's like, you can look me up.
Yeah.
So yeah, add me to it.
Yeah,
but no, it's great. It's doing this show has helped me a little bit with my Hot Shots golf community, interacting with people. Like I have, what do I have now? Like 1,300 people in my PlayStation 4 community for Hot Shots Golf.
Wow.
See, this is this show, and by this, no, we're not going to put out a monthly recording of Keith, Josh, and I and Sid talking. It's not going to happen.
Oh, really? I thought we were going to do that.
No.
Nah.
But it doesn't mean the end of us, and it doesn't mean that if somebody says, "Hey, Dave, you want to play Rock Band?" on Twitter, somebody sends me a tweet at my new Twitter. It's at Tell You Dave. You send me a tweet, I will gladly play with you, or send me a message on Facebook. It's not the end of my Rock Band days. It's not the end of Living Room Clutter, really. It's just the end of us putting out a weekly, monthly podcast. And I am so happy that everybody could be here for this. The people who could be here. I mean, Josh, Harrison, I don't know where you're at, but
yeah, I feel bad for all the people who we've lost, who've left harmonics over the years that we. I was just thinking the other day, remember when Rock Band 4 premiered at E3 and they were going to announce the guitar solo feature? And you remember that one of the news outlets interviewed them and on the background you could see some sort of weird thing, which was a guitar solo mode. And I posted a video about it, and I think, who was it, Chester?
Yeah, Chester.
Whatever his name. I don't know if he's still at harmonics. I think he left.
No, he left before Josh.
I think that reminds me of whenever they were doing the show in Germany. And the set list leaked, and the way they responded to it, I think it was for Rock Band 3. It was
Rock Band
full
3,
set list. And John Drake, who still the best community guy ever. Congrats on him and Andrea. But the way they reacted to that, we're professionals. We would never do, and they just on the spot spoof of that video was fantastic. Still one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Hey guys,
yeah, that was great.
This was amazing. This was really amazing. I don't have enough words to say here. Of course, Josh is at JC Lexicon. Keith is at KDollaway. I'm at Tell You Dave. Sid is at
Guns N' Roses Daily. I think it's Guns N' Roses Daily. Yeah, I think that's on my Twitter feed. I don't use. Yeah, it's at Guns N' Roses Daily. So there you go.
Yeah, guys. I hope to see you guys all again. I'm so glad that there were people here in the live chat. There were like 13 people watching us live at its peak. Thank you. That's amazing. That's still more people than ever watched any of my podcasts live, period. So, guys, we'll see you guys soon, hopefully, for something. This isn't the end, but it is the end of Living Room Clutter. What do you got, Keith?
I won't be seeing you guys anywhere. I'll be stuck in a VR helmet since they just announced everybody's golf VR.
Are you
boy.
I won't see the outside
So
world
now
ever
Keith
again.
is going to be trapped in the cyber.
Did I tell you? I sold my VR helmet.
Oh, good.
What did you have? Did you have a
I had the
Oculus?
PlayStation VR.
Oh, I was actually very seriously considering selling mine, and then literally like last Tuesday they announced everybody's golf for VR, and I was like, well, shit. I guess there goes that idea.
Because you know what happened? I bought the VR when it came out because I was writing for that gaming site. I was writing that way back.
Yeah, I remember you had the harmonics equalizer thing.
Yeah,
I remember when you played that.
Yeah, what was that game called?
Harmonix Music VR.
Yeah.
Harmonix Music VR. So I remember I was writing for that site. Then, like, GNR Central came in. I didn't have time to juggle all the stuff. And I quit that writing job. And then I didn't really use the helmet anymore because I was reviewing so many games on it. And I'm like, well, I can just sell it. And at that time, I waited too long and like it dropped a lot in value. And I should have sold it as soon as I was done with it.
If you ever get it again, they have a better version now, less cords and stuff. So that's nice.
And it's cheap.
Yeah,
it's cheaper.
Yeah, you can get everything you need for like $300 now.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of $5.
Yeah.
Guys, my last thoughts on gaming. Spider-Man's okay. It's an okay game.
Yeah, a guy at work is asking me. There's like this 24-year-old guy who plays Spider-Man. I'm like, dude, I'm a senior now. I have too much responsibilities. Like I don't have time to play Spider-Man. I wish I could. I didn't even finish playing the new Uncharted game.
When I turned 25, I was saying I was going through my quarter life crisis. I can't wait till I'm 32 and I'm a senior. Can't wait.
You'll be going through your third life crisis.
Josh. Dave. When you hit 30, man, it's all downhill from there. Like your body starts aching in ways you never thought possible.
Oh, it's already starting.
You're gonna have to go to the masseuse like once a month for like just to make sure that your body doesn't fall apart.
You guys are killing me.
You take bare aspirin once a day.
I don't have any of these issues. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's
Age is nothing but a number.
Oh man, you're so lucky. I complain to my parents and like they're like, we're like 70 and you're complaining about your age.
Yeah. Now when I don't really wake up with pains. Like I wake up being tired. That's my biggest issue.
Guys, watch Sid's Guns N' Roses thing. Check out Josh's writing. Keith, I don't know, play Hot Shots golf with him.
I got another piece I'm working on now.
I'm in PSN, whatever. I'm always
if anybody wants the hype game to play with me, it's Forza Horizon 4. Get on board.
Do you have an Xbox One?
I have an Xbox One X, bro.
Upgraded, son.
I had both. We'll see you guys soon. It's hard to say goodbye. Does anybody want to say anything else?
Yeah, I love you guys.
Yep. I love you too.
I love you
Don't
all.
ever change.
And I guess this really is growing up.
Yeah.
Sid, you have to say one more thing for us.
It's not you, it's me.
No.
That's not it. What's the Ringo line? What's the Ringo line?
Oh, peace and love. Peace and love.
There we go. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. See you on the other side.